1, 2, ready, and...
Hello and welcome to Cool Coffee with Kansas Principals. By and for school administrators, this podcast is intended to promote candid discussion and insight about our great profession. My name is Rick Sola, and as Communications Director for the Kansas Principals Association, I am the host, but I am certainly not the feature. Sit back, take a sip, and enjoy. This is Cool Coffee with Kansas Principals. Let's get started. Hello and welcome to Cool Coffee with Principal Heath Henderson from Skelly Elementary School in Dorado, Kansas. USD 490, part of the Pride. Welcome, Heath.
Well, thanks for having me, Rick. I'm excited to be here and talk about some educational things.
Well, good deal. I'm looking forward to having a conversation with you, and I've come across you obviously in our board meetings with KPA, but also at USA. I've seen you present, and I know you're presenting at KPA here in about a month, so looking forward to hearing about that. Before we get started, I'll do a quick show shout out. Check out the show notes, leave feedback, or contact me directly with topics or guest ideas. Also, if you're so inclined, give us a like or a follow on your favorite podcast platform and help spread the word about the insightful stories from the amazing principals we have right here in the state of Kansas. Like us, follow us here at KPA's Cool Coffee. So, Heath, once again, thanks for joining us. It is October 1st. It's 3:54 p.m. The day just wrapped. How was your day today?
I had a wonderful day. I actually had a 360 coaching session today with the wonderful people at KPA. And so if you are a leader and you haven't taken advantage of the Elevate programs or the 360 coaching or any of those programs, then you're missing out, because I always get a little bit recharged anytime I have the opportunity to collaborate and learn and grow as a leader in those programs.
I have had the opportunity and actually am currently in one of the Elevate programs. For those who may not be at all familiar or maybe have only heard a little bit, what would be like a 30-second summary that you would give to someone about your experience with that?
Oh, for me, I say this any chance I get, it is the greatest professional development that you can get as an administrator. I have learned more about how to lead with my leadership style, and how to plan, how to impact leadership in my building, how to provide and that support for my people to create a positive climate and culture. And I would say it's more impactful than my whole entire leadership program that I paid a lot of money for. And so I don't like saying that very loud, but at the same time, it's been an exceptional journey. Sorry, a little bit longer than 30 seconds, but I get very passionate about it, and I do think people need to jump on board if they haven't.
No, it's a very candid and real answer, and I wouldn't disagree with you. I'm on my second rotation of Elevate, and there's so much value in the connection and sitting shoulder to shoulder with people that you don't work with in a district or day to day, but being able to problem solve and think through and reflect on the so many situations that we might have come across as.
I would echo that, because I always used to say that the best teachers are the best thieves. They steal all the ideas, and it's the same thing. And you're sitting in a room full of people with the same growth mindset that you hopefully have. And when you're in rooms with people who are curious and people who are risk takers, you're going to find some fantastic ideas.
Best teachers are the best thieves. I think I need to compile all the sound bites from all of these podcasts, because that's like a bumper sticker or something. It's true, and it's a compliment. And truly, that's really one of the points of this podcast, is to share out and give ideas out, and hopefully we're all learning from each other. So it's a nice segue into the conference. It's, like I said, October 1st, just over a month from now is the KPA conference, November 5th and 6th. You're presenting at the conference, and would love to hear a teaser of what it is you're going to be talking about.
So for us, and I say for us because this I haven't decided whether it's going to be a dual presentation, because the last presentation I did, I also did it with my student liaison, Emma Culberson. She's amazing. we have such a strong team here. Sometimes I think when we present by ourselves, it kind of negates the importance of that whole team. But we're going to talk about the collaboration to impact, from collaboration to impact, which is partnerships with a purpose. And so that will touch on community partners coming into our school and how that can impact our building, how we can impact some of those community partners, and also within our building, what do those partnerships look like, whether it's from certified staff to students, or certified staff to classified staff, or classified staff vice versa. And we have a lot of fun initiatives, impactful initiatives that we do here in our building that are unique to us, but also, again, I'll go back to what I said earlier. They're all little pieces that we've seen at other places that from around the state, from around the country, and thought, well, that could work for us. And when you bring it back, and there's some magical things that happen on the south side of El Dorado, and so that's the things we'll be talking about. And we'll be bragging about the amazing staff and community that we're from too, because none of this happens without some of those amazing people who make the work happen.
What's an example of a community partner that you are working with right now?
Oh, well, I mean, so some of those community partners we're talking about, whether we're talking about our Good News Clubs or our Scouts or our RPD, those are some different things. Our custodial staffs, some of those interventions that we are doing with those specific things and those people. I don't want to give too much away. Some of that's going to be at the conference. And also some of what we're doing with our attendance initiatives that are a little different than other people. We talked a little bit about it, meeting our community and our families where they're at. And we have 24/7 access. Our families have that to us to communicate with us. And so those are things that we have been very intentional on doing. And so we're excited to share some of those ideas, maybe give some of those ideas and initiatives to other schools that they might be able to use, and hopefully take something away that will positively impact their school.
Yeah, I love that. Anytime I go to a conference, my hope is I'm able to leave with even just a single item that I can bring back and it might impact a school. And you alluded to that. How many years have you been attending this conference? Not to put you on the spot, because I don't know the answer to this, but
So for the KPA conference, this will be my 5th year attending the KPA conference, and I think the state of Kansas, with KPA and also USA in the spring, I think that we do just phenomenal stuff at these, and the leadership sessions that we get from principals for principals they're just so relevant to what we do every day. That person who's talking to us is giving us information from our seats, and so it's not from a book, it's not from another state, it's not from a company. It is literally somebody doing my job or your job, and hey, they'll be honest and say what works, what doesn't work, and then so they can help you avoid some potholes and help you grow. And so 5 years, and I would say that again, going back to investing in yourself, money well spent.
yeah, I totally agree. I haven't been to this conference as many years as you, but I have kind of shouted it from the rooftops, exactly what you said, the value of this conference. And the spring with USA is so valuable. KPA, it's not as large of a conference, but it's really a strong conference with the presenters, the current principals, and I find it too. It's very candid and sometimes even conversational. But anybody who attends is going to come away with probably multiple things that they're going to be able to bring back. But then that networking piece that is really a big part of KPA, but this conference in particular. I'm looking forward to connecting with people like you who, we're on different parts of the state. We don't see each other, but to be able to continue those conversations or start new conversations.
Yeah, I agree. And when we talk about the size of the conference, well, what I love about the KPA conference specifically is its principals, where there's, when we get to the other conference, which is a great conference, it's a little bit more. Um, you have some central office, you have some technology, you have some companies coming in to present. This is such a principal focused conference that it is, like I said, it is so relevant. And I'm with you. You said something earlier about hoping to take something back. And I always say when I go into a session, my goal at every session I go into is one thing. One thing. What is one thing I'm going to learn from this session? Whether that's something to take back to my building or just something to consider. And sometimes it's an affirmation. You go into something and it's affirming you're doing something right in your own building that you might have thought about changing, and you're like, oh, wait a second, I just got to get through this little bump right here. It's going to be good. And so it's just been a great experience.
That's actually a really good point, the affirming part, because I don't know. Maybe it's part of my own personal reflection, but there's times you start to second guess yourself, or you're wondering, or like, oh gosh, and then you hear someone else talk about it, like, well, no, maybe I'm not far off, or maybe this is working or worth a second look. And so I like that it's not just about change; it's about maybe making better what you're currently doing, or affirming a process or something that's in place. And no, that's a really good point with that. Well, so like I said, as we record this, it's just over a month away. As this comes out, it'll be even less. But my sentiments are exactly what you said. Just the fact that it is a principal focused conference, and really just of such value. So looking forward to your presentation and the many others that we will see out there. Kind of transitioning from that, just talking about the year. Yeah, I said it's October 1st, and I don't know, there's still that sense of like, oh, we're still in the new school year, but where I'm at, we're wrapping up the quarter here in a week, and we're having conferences in just over a week, and we're really not in the start of the school year anymore. But how's your year gone up to this point, almost a quarter in?
Well, I would say that this has been the best year that I've had as an administrator in education. We have had enrollments up a little bit. Our kids have been, they understand and know the Skelly way, and even our kids who are new to us have fit in and been welcomed. And so we have a few new staff, and they have just come on and added so much new energy and so many new ideas to our building, and been met with great collaboration from our veterans who have been here. And so our year, I feel very blessed to say, has been very good. But in education, we have to knock on wood when we say stuff like that, so we got to be careful.
Uh-huh.
But I anticipate us having a strong year the whole way through. Just we have great people, and yeah, we're only as strong as the people that work in the building. And luckily, I'm probably the weakest link in this building. So.
What's the Skelly way? Give me 2 or 3 Skelly way items.
Well, so the Skelly way it's just our social contract that we in our building, how we're going to treat people. We're going to have good customer service to students, staff, parents, everybody. We're just going to be respectful, and that's we're going to be proud of who we are, and we're not going to be afraid to be proud of who we are. I think that's that whole thing when we're talking about culture and climate. Saying where you're at, who you are, and where you're from. We're the Southside Superstars. We like to imagine greatness down here on the south side of 951 Skelly Street, and that is important to us, and making everybody feel welcome. And so when we talk about that social contract, when we talk about doing things the right way, that's what we're referring to.
What's been a challenge you've had to work through either this year or last year? Or...
Well, I think anytime when we talk about challenges in buildings for us, one of our building goals is that chronic absenteeism. So for us, one of those big challenges is continuing to fight that chronic absenteeism, continuing to identify those barriers that are creating some of those things. We are an 85% free and reduced lunch school. And so we have some socioeconomic barriers. We have some logistical barriers, but we call them barriers. I'll also just call them opportunities. And one of the things we'll talk about in that presentation is we had 4 years ago a chronic absentee rate of almost 38%. Our chronic absentee rate's like 16 now, so we've dropped that substantially. And of course, we're going to drop that more. We're going to keep working. We're going to keep focusing on doing what we can to help those kids get to school so they can learn, and create that safe environment where they want to come to school, and try to, like I said, use those opportunities to help. And so that's been the big challenge for us. And I think that's one of those things that we will continue to focus on for the foreseeable future, because we don't want our kids to think that we're going to let that happen, and we're going to give up on them. We're going to make sure that we're going to help them understand the importance of being here.
Yeah, no, that's a really. I mean, you cut it in more than half. Sharing that stat, and I want to ask follow-up questions, but I know you're going to talk about it at the conference. So I'm going to have to come sit in on your session there.
Well, and there's some good stuff, and some of it will kind of blend with some of the stuff we've presented in the past, but we've added some new things to it. And really the thing is how do we engage them, and how do we engage our parents? How do we engage people to want to be somewhere? And you can't control people. You can only influence people. So how do you influence them? And so we had to dig into data, and data would tell us which days kids were there the most. And we got into daily data throughout the year, and we knew that when there was an event going on at a school, kids were at school. Like it shared out. If there was an assembly at school, all the kids were at school. If there was a field trip, kids were at school. If there was, different things. So, okay, how do we create that magic a little bit more frequently? And that's helped us.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And do you have your time slot for the conference? Are you Wednesday or Thursday? Or
I do not have my time slot yet. I have not looked yet,
Okay.
but we'll get there.
I know it's a work in progress too. We're still early, and I know submissions are still even being accepted. So, no, that's really good. Today is the first day of National Principals Month, which so it's great talking with you on this and looking ahead at some things to come. It's National Principals Month. What do you love about being a principal?
I love. So it's going to sound maybe weird, because I was a teacher for 20 years before I was a principal, and I was a coach for a bunch of years for 20 years before I was a principal. And what I loved most about those is the relationships and the ability to impact wherever I was at. It's the same answer. My why still is the same. It's just my audience is different. And so for, when you were coaching, it's your team. Whenever you're a teacher, it's the students in your room. And what I love now is that team of people that I have that opportunity to impact and coach are the teachers, the paras, our custodian, our lunch lady, our secretary, our nurse. The ability to have an impact over the people who touch every single student in our building, and also potentially impact our community. That is the part that I enjoy. So that relationship piece is something that is near and dear to my heart. And so they always, that's always the first question I'm always going to ask. And anybody who's ever going to interview for a job in my school, if they don't talk about relationships anywhere in that interview, then they probably won't work for me. And so, because that's something it's a foundational thing for me.
When you made that transition from classroom to administration, did you find it challenging even at first to maintain or create and build those kinds of relationships from a different seat and different perspective?
I didn't personally, and I know that some people do, because you have to have your professional boundaries. However, we still have to see people as people. And while we can't necessarily go out, we can still have conversations and be professional. And I can ask you about your family, and I can check in on you, and I can still see you as a mother or a father first before I see you as a teacher. And that is very, very important to me as somebody who sat in the other side for so long. The best administrators I ever had were always had the ability to connect and relate to their staffs. And again, there was always a boundary still. There's still a boundary. There's still a rule. But that ability to connect is the single most important thing. And I would say that when we talk about teachers, we all have teachers who connect with like rock stars with kids. Well, if they can do that, we can teach them the skill, they're going to be great. And we have the ones who struggle with that ability, and they can know everything in the world, but it doesn't matter because it doesn't translate because they don't connect. And so that ability to connect is so important. And so for me, I think it's just one of those things where we try to be very intentional. And again, I think it goes back to seeing people as people before you see them as employees and teachers and paras and custodians. They're people first. And, I know every person in my building, if their kid's got a game this weekend, if their grandkids got a game this weekend, if their grandchild was just born, if their baby was just born, what's their names and where they're going. And it's just important to care and to show you care and to be genuine. And so for me, I think it's, and it makes it better when you go to work, when you like the people you work with and you invest in the people you go to work with. It just makes it better.
Yeah. No, that's great. Really enjoyed that answer. And, it sounds like there's a lot of authentic relationships in your building. And I think that all is toward the good and the purpose of the school as well. But like you said, it makes it more fun. For those who might be listening who are like first year principals or maybe even, considering becoming an administrator, what was the best advice you got as a principal, either going into the chair or that you got while serving in the chair?
Well, and so this is a hard one because there's so many different pieces of advice that are so, so, so good. And I just kind of touched on relationships.
Yeah.
But I would say I'm gonna go way back to a college football coach of mine, and they just said, "You never stay the same. You never stay the same. Every day you either get better or you get worse, and so it's up to you what kind of day you're going to have, and whether you're going to get better today or get worse today, and so." When you attack each day with a singular focus to get better, I think that comes through in growth mindset. It comes through in your relationships. It comes through in your preparation for your staff. And I think that has been my mantra in life, is to try to make sure that I don't get worse today. I need to get better today. And because again, if I thought, well, I didn't do nothing, I didn't stay the same. I got worse. I took a step back, and so that doesn't mean you're not going to have days where you don't take a step back. It just means that you got to be conscious of that. And so for me, that's more of a life piece of advice than a necessarily leadership piece of advice. But the other piece to that, I will give one leadership piece of advice, and that's. You're only as strong as your team. So make sure that you are building your team. And you might not get to pick your team, but you can build your team. And so making sure that you're being very intentional with how you maximize the strength of the people you work with. Because every single person in your building has a strength. Every single person. I don't care who they are. They have a strength. And are you going to do things that ask them to accentuate their strengths? Because if you do, then you're doing it right. If you're criticizing their weaknesses instead of emphasizing their strengths, we'll never be able to get them better. So.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Actually, it makes me think of, and I'll put a plug in again for the conference because I know our mutual friend, Dr. Todd Dane, is presenting on a really similar topic as far as building your team and being that trust-willing leader. And how hard it is sometimes in our position to want to let go of certain things. And I know that'll be a session of his. And
that's one that if you don't go to, then I don't know. I hope we don't have a session at the same time because I'm going to say the same thing because he is absolutely amazing. And if you're not going to his sessions, then there's something wrong. So
yeah. Well, I will say I had a session that I presented at the same time of his at USA. I was like, Todd, this is not good for me, but no, it's all good. There's There's definitely going to be overlap of really good quality sessions, but yeah, some really good things. Hey, before we sign off here, I'm going to a couple quick hitters here, just a little bit about you. And part of the reason I'm doing this is because I see a mug over your shoulder here, but we'll see if it matches. Favorite movie of all time?
Oh, off the top of my head, football movie, Replacements, Gladiator for any other movie. So
Okay, football movie. That's Keanu Reeves, right?
yeah, Shane Falco, Footsteps, man. Come on, man.
Okay. Yeah. And then Gladiator. Okay, good one. TV show.
Ooh, TV show. Well, I have just. I'm a proud Native American, and so Reservation Dogs.
Reservation Dogs.
Yeah, it's filmed out of Tulsa. It's a fairly new show. And when I say all time, it's just my favorite recent show.
Right now.
If I was to go all time, I would probably say The Wire or The Sopranos. But
Okay. Well, I see World's Best Boss over your shoulder, so I was thinking The Office was.
well, hey, funny thing about that is actually a boss's gift.
Okay.
So all these things that you see above me are gifts from staff, students, from over the years. And so I don't ever get rid of it. I always just proudly display it. And so,
Yeah, that's awesome. No, that's really cool. Okay, last one. If I'm driving through El Dorado and my alternator happens to go out and I'm stranded on the side of the highway and I need a place to eat, not that that's ever happened to me before, but it has. And actually the highway patrol was amazing out there. There's a whole story with that. But anyway, what restaurant would you recommend that I make sure I get to if I need a place to eat?
ooh, well, and we have a couple really good Mexican restaurants. So it's hard. I would say Anita's if you want Mexican food. And then I would say, but if you want the best chicken strips or best chicken salad with jalapeno ranch dressing, Willie's.
Okay. All right. Well, next time I'll be driving right through El Dorado on the way to the conference. So
Well, you better stop and eat.
I think I will. Yeah, one way or the other. So, we've talked a little bit or quite a bit. You've referenced your community and the people, and I love to conclude these podcasts with an opportunity to brag on your people. Before you totally do that, I should have started with this, but just kind of a quick, how big is your school and Skelly Elementary School and what makes it up, and then brag on your people.
Yeah. Oh, Skelly Elementary. We are the pride of the South Side here in El Dorado. We are, like I said, we're a two-section school, so we're right around 275. We're in early childhood through fifth grade. Like I said, we have. It is a magical place to work. We have great people here. I'm not sure exactly what else I want to say, but I like I said, we will. Talk a lot more about that at the conference, and I will elaborate on all the successes and barriers that we have. But this place right here is a place where if I was a kid, I would want to go. This is a place where I want to send my grandkids. This is a place where if I was a parent, I would want to send my kids.
Yeah, and I think that's like probably the best answer that any of us could give is if we're principal of a school to be able to truly and honestly say this is where I would want my own kids to be and here's why, and sounds like a lot of really neat things happening out at Skelly Elementary. Looking forward to hearing more about it here at KPA, and just once again a plug for the conference November 5th and 6th. I think there's early registration or events November 4th in the evening, but the conference 5th and 6th, and hope to see all of our principals there because it is a principal-focused conference, and there's not a lot of those out there, and it's a really well-done conference.
I 100% agree. I think it's going to be an amazing conference. And if you are pre-registered, don't forget to go on the website, and there's some festivities that might happen the evening before that you might want to make sure that you register for as well.
Yep, I am registered, and some of the team here are as well, and it's going to be a good time. It's going to be a really good time. And Heath, thank you so much for taking time at the end of a long day, and looking forward to seeing you here soon here in Wichita.
Well, thank you for having me, and thank you for all you do for the principals across the state with your podcast. It's amazing. It's an amazing platform, and I look forward to watching this thing continue to blow up and grow over the next decade.
I appreciate that. Hey, thanks so much, Heath. We'll see you soon.
See ya.
Check the notes section for more information on this episode and to learn more about the KPA and its mission to develop and support all principals through optimized learning, collaborative leadership, networking, and service. Be sure to check back in for our next episode and spread the word about cool coffee with Kansas principals. Catch you next time.